It is beautiful. It is just past sunset, but we've still got enough light out with us. And it's all happening right here because that's the only way it can be in the bush. I have to apologize if I seem a bit distracted. We just arrived here at the fire, and it's going to be a lovely half an hour around it. As people tend to do around fires, you have a great conversation, and you talk about lots of things. In fact, there's Hayden arriving now. He's going to be joining us shortly. And
is that not real?
That's what we're talking to you shortly. I can hear you, Will. I just have no idea what you're telling me. Okay. I don't even know if I'm live at the moment. Sorry, guys. If you're still with us, we're just trying to figure this out. Okay, great. All right, guys. He's going to be joining us around the fire shortly, and we are going to, after the break, have a little chat about a few things, mainly about the predators that we have seen around here, as well as a couple of questions that you guys sent through to us. Look forward to answering those. Always fun that you learn new things in answering other people's questions. And of course, yes. Okay, guys, sorry, there seems to be a little bit of confusion, which is fine. Well, I can hear you guys. Okay, we're an ad break, guys. There's the good news. I just had someone speaking to me that made no sense throughout all of it.
So are we in
I didn't get a count and I get nothing.
That's good.
I'm not.
Are we in ad break now?
We're in ad break now.
Okay.
Sit there.
And remember to intro your video first. Hayden, your video is first.
Yep.
Okay. And then afterwards, you guys have a chat about it. Okay. And you discuss what the reasons like for you, the how, the why of what's happening. And then Pieter, we're going to come to you. And your video will talk about the conclusion. Afterwards, dogs. Then finally, the outro to the ad break. We're going to be answering the questions afterwards.
Okay.
Looking good and calm, Pieter.
It's all good.
Remember, keep your eye
Feel good.
contact with
Your best buddies in there, man.
your eyes over here, Pieter.
I'm opening now. Who's opening? I'm opening. Count me, please. It's all good. Oh, quick shot. And you know what? I have to have a little smile because this is such a beautiful place. We've got literally a canvas of sunset behind us. It is absolutely stunning. It's been a great afternoon. We had leopard, we had elephant, and we had a little bit of a interesting shaky live changeover going around the fire. You know what? It wasn't planned, but it does show you that this really is live. So laugh with us, go with us. It is my pleasure to sit with my friend Hayden around the fire. We're going to talk about a few things. And a few highlights, a few questions.
Hey folks.
And just have a good chat around the fire. HT, nice to be around the fire. Nice to be in Africa with you,
Oh mate, it's a pleasure buddy. I'm sorry I just zoomed on in there. We had Q right at the end there and he was hunting and then it was all going a bit crazy. And that's what Safari Live is all about, folks. It is a bit crazy and frantic and hectic because there's no script. It just happens, mate. And that's what live's been all about. You taught me that. Absolutely. Do you think we should get straight into it?
I think we do. There's not enough time. There's a lot of fantastic things to look at. There's some great questions from you guys. It's always nice to answer questions from from people that go on safari with us, and of course Stefan joining us later on as well.
Absolutely.
So lots happening. Actually, take us away.
Well, this is the place where it all happens, isn't it? Around a fire. You taught me that as well. But that's another thing we had in common. Sitting around the fire, telling stories to each other or sharing things. And one of the things that I've noticed is that there's been an increase in predator sightings. Okay, since I was here, huge increase in predator sightings. And I think, we prepared a little clip earlier that we're going to throw to now, and it gives you a bit of an idea of what I'm talking about. It's all about the number of predators that we've actually been seeing.
Yeah, lots of activity.
Yeah, absolutely.
Lots of predators, lots of hunting.
We've had some incredible line sightings, and there are 2 line prides whose home ranges overlap here. We've also had a coalition of 5 lines that are a force to be reckoned with, the Birmingham males. And then one of my favourites, wild dog. Incredible hunters, highly social with massive home ranges. We've had some sightings that have been raw and real. But this is the reality of the bush. With many mouths to feed and a long way to run, they have to feed more often than most. We have really seen a load of leopards, sometimes as many as 4 different leopards in a day. With so many leopards around, it hasn't been a great time to be an impala at Djuma or Arathusa. And with so many successful hunts, there are tons of scavenging opportunities for others.
Obviously, firstly, seeing them is great. Yeah, there's enough people looking for them and finding them plays a big role. And then also, we're in a very, very sort of unique situation at the moment. Or not unique, it happens, but we just happen to be at the right time, perhaps. And that is that those 2 male leopard that we've been seeing, the 2 boys, they're old enough now to effectively be independent leopard, I think. I mean, they're hunting for themselves, they live by themselves, but they live in a small area. They live under mum's roof, so literally in her territory.
Still at home, waiting to be kicked out of home.
Yeah, he's like, I'm going to college, but this is working for me. And that's obviously a good thing for them. And a lot of the leopard sightings we've had have been those 2.
Yeah, very much so. Like today, Q, the brother of one of the animals that Pete's talking about right now.
The second best male in this area at the moment, after his brother. He likes Q, I like Djuma.
Yeah.
So those 2 have been a key factor, I think. Also, there's other factors, the lion prides, the kuhumas, we almost hope to see them tonight. They're just north of here. Another lion's just to the south. We're sort of on that sort of umbra, if you want, that peripheral overlap of territories. And I think that plays a role. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. All these different things are contributing factors that affect it, and it's just possibly a unique situation that's occurring right now. The dynamic could change completely once those 2 cats go.
Yeah, but the fact that those 2 are here, and then also that we've seen a lot, just literally every day almost for the last week or 2 since we've been here, is the fact that these leopards are sort of resident almost at the moment, and then we've got the hyena den just over there that are literally in the middle of it.
And that's come up with a few sort of interactions, hasn't it?
Definitely. So the hyenas relative to the leopard presence, I think, plays a big role.
Yeah.
We're going to look at that just now. Have a look at that.
The hyenas are stealing the leopard's prey, often responding to the sound of the kill itself rather than the smell of the carcass a day or 2 later. That's why leopards have to try and keep the food as far away from the hyenas as possible. The best way is to take it up a tree, because hyenas can't climb or even jump very well. One would think that a leopard would defend a carcass, but they can't. The risk of injury is simply too great, and being a solitary animal with no pack, pride, or clan to back them up, it is better for a leopard to avoid the confrontation and walk away unscathed to hunt again, rather than protect his food and possibly getting injured or even killed in the process. Then you add into this mix those hunters that just move like a tornado through this area, wild dogs who travel in packs, which means they are more evenly matched with the hyena clan and are willing to take them on.
Well, it certainly has been a very special experience. As I said, I think it's just, it's call it beginner's luck or tourist luck or safari luck, to be in this situation at the moment to have seen so much of it. So we've seen lots of hyena and leopard activity. But then we just had this amazing experience also. I mean, we've twice had wild dogs come through here, which, you know, they move a lot. But really lucky to firstly see them endangered species. You don't see them very often. And then secondly, and you saw most of it, I mean, just fantastic interaction between them and the hyenas.
The line, they come through. They sort of move. There's two prides that sort of butt heads here occasionally because there's a bit of a vacuum from another pride that disappeared for other reasons. But then you've got the leopard. You've got a wild dog occasionally.
And they can literally sort of, you know, in earshot of each other, as we just saw during that video. But I tell you what, we're going to go on a short break just now, or you guys are, and when you come back, we can that you thought about. And as I said, we always learn something from your questions as well. So we'll see you after the break, and we'll answer a few questions.
We'll see you just now. So, this is a fantastic little back to us live, and Pete told me about it before I started. He said it's like nothing else, and it's true. For you to be able to send questions to us and us answer them live right now, in the middle of the African bush, mate. Thanks.
That's great. It's a game drive.
Yeah,
It's a
absolutely.
safari.
You got a question?
Well, one of the questions, there's another one here that's come in, just sort of one of the last ones that I would like to get to as well. But one of the original questions, or one of the early ones, was from Graham in Johannesburg, and he asked, why did Karula not defend the cubs? Now, some of you might not have seen the exact story behind that, but Karula was the mother of Q that you saw earlier. Hyenas killed one of her cubs earlier this year. And the same as, you could almost say, why don't they defend their food? You know, they have the food, and why do they let the hyenas take it? And we mentioned it during the video there a bit, but it is simply just too dangerous for a hyena, for a leopard to try and stand up to a hyena. Firstly, hyenas are very big. They're much slower. Leopards are much quicker, but hyenas have got incredibly powerful jaws. They can easily inflict an injury, even death, upon the leopard. And obviously, an injury for her would be, you know, potentially fatal.
Yeah.
She doesn't have a group to look after like hyenas do, or like lions do. So that's the. I just thought it's an interesting thought, because it is something that people instinctively would wonder.
Yeah. Because
So,
the leopards are. I mean, if you look at them and you put them side by side, you think the leopard will just completely take on anything. But you're right. It's that solitary lifestyle versus the pride, or the sort of support.
they're quick enough to avoid anything. Put it that way.
Yeah,
But,
absolutely.
they might not go, listen, I'm going to pick this fight. I'd rather just, rather not pick it.
Folks, I had a question from Susie in LA, and I found this one really interesting because I love the two animals. She wanted to know who is more dominant, wild dog, African wild dog, which you saw back in the clip, Pete's clip that he talked about, chasing the hyena, or hyena. Now, in that clip, it looks like the wild dog are definitely more dominant. This hyena's running, getting his hindquarters nipped by these wild dog. It was an incredible experience to sit there. That happened first thing in the morning. We were back.
I think it was the second morning.
Yeah, right.
Because we found them originally driving along, and I...
Those hyena are going to be not having a happy day. They're not going to be wanting to be around at the point. Those wild dog will be frantic. They mob. They've got this mobbing effect where they just go in and they nip and they nip and they nip. But if it was 2 wild dog and 10 hyena, those wild dog would be out of there. The wild dog they've got a better sort of sustainable run about them, haven't they? They can go for longer distances, where the loping sort of run of the hyena is a little bit slower, but they can still cover good ground. So really, Susie, it's a numbers game. To answer your question, it's a numbers game. It really does depend on who's got the strongest numbers there, and then the particular species will make the decision on who to assert, which one asserts the dominance.
Although, sorry, there is just a little moment, and it's going to tie into something we're going to talk about later again. But when that dog's chasing the hyena, that's sort of right at the end. He got to the top, the dog actually stopped and looked back, and this happened later on. He looked back and you could see he was like, whoa.
Where's my backup? Yeah. Where's my backup? All the rest of them were hanging back up and going, whoa, 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 whoa.
So it really is
brilliant.
It's a group effort, and obviously the way they survive as well.
You had a nice question here.
Yeah,
answer
I like
from
it.
a little
It's always great when we've got youngsters asking. This is from Brandy and Keyston. That's a cool name, Keyston. You guys are from Kansas. Keyston's 12 years old. And I just briefly saw just now, as I said, one of the last questions that came in is possibly the reason for the large number of predators in the area, and possibly the reason Quarantine and Kunuma, that's the two males, Quarantine that we saw with H earlier and Kunuma, his brother, haven't been pushed too hard to leave because of an abundance of food in the area. And that's a very interesting question. It's on so many levels. First, I just love the fact that you're really contextualizing and putting into play different factors. Resources are very, very important. You're going to see this a lot with the wartholes over the next few months here on the game drives. As the resources become less, there's more and more competition for it. But very well grasped there. And it is definitely part of the reason. They're 2.5 years old now. At 2.5, they could have left. 2 years, they can leave already. They can stay up to about 3 years. But they're staying in their mother's territory. And a large part of that is because there is enough food. She hasn't had cubs yet. So in a way, those hyenas killing her cubs a couple of months ago would play a role there as well. If she's had cubs already, she would have been a little bit harder on them. Also, if there were new cubs in the area, the dominant male, those two's father, and that plays a role as well, the fact that their father is still here. It's not a new male that's taken over those 2 years.
True.
So all those factors would put pressure on them. The fact that she's having cubs late, we think she's pregnant at the moment. The fact that Mvula, the big male that you saw the other day as well, you've seen some good leopard as well.
I have seen some good leopard.
He's still around, so there's their paternal father. And the food issue, Keys, and that's very important. There is enough food for all of them. So because of that, they're like, there's no pressure. But when the new babies come or a new male comes in, there's going to be definite pressure on them straight away.
Yeah, true. Keyston, you're 12, eh? You're going to go far, my friend. Far. That's a fantastic question. Really, really cool, matey. I'm going to finish with one quick last one, and that is Chris in Yosemite, California. Instinct or taught? Have predators been taught to show up during the rutting season, or is it pure instinct to be around all prey animals in that season? Well, Chris, it's actually instinct. They know that, they are born with that, they understand that. They might get taught some learnt behaviours, but that's an instinctual thing, and they'll hang around as long as there's abundant food source. If the food source gets too low, then they'll actually probably go into other areas. It really does depend on their food availability. But then again, leopard are probably a little bit different because they've got such an incredible adaptable way of feeding, from beetles to hoofed animals 3 to 4 times their size. So Chris, thank you very, very much for that question.
Yeah, in the end, opportunity. I mean, and this is, whether you maybe work in Wall Street or whether you live on a beach island somewhere, opportunity is something that we all understand as humans, and it's the same for wildlife. Wildlife, they don't sort of plan everything. They wake up in a world and they live there and they do the best they can. And they have to go with the adaptations. If it's raining a lot, there's lots of water, lots of food, lots of babies, lots of easy food. When it's very dry, then it's maybe sometimes easier for the predators and tougher for, they have to use the opportunities that are available. Rutting season is a big distraction, so they do catch quite a few impala then. The same as the result of that, 6-7 months later, when all the babies come, there's a lot of baby impalas that they can hunt again. The prey on the other side, they have exactly for that reason. They time it so that the babies all come at the same time during rain season when there's lots of food for the babies.
100%.
And when they're born, there's so many of them that the numbers will ensure that many of those will survive, even though some will get eaten. So a lot of it is just living your life. Just going on with what you need to do to survive.
We'll see you after the break.
camera work, Brian?
10.
You bringing us in, huh?
Yep.
Yeah, right now. Pause you on it. Wide.
And this is what sitting around a fire is all about. It's about sharing stories and moments of the day after safari with a cup of coffee and just talking about what's happened. Hey, mate, I mean, it's the sort of thing that you do. And I say, anything can happen live here, folks.
All right, let me just take off all my kids.
You're good, mate.
There we go, thanks.
Take a seat, big man. You've got a little place to plug in your comms at the back there.
Oh, I'm okay.
Anything can happen. I heard steps behind me.
Everyone.
Well, so what we get a chance to do now is tell a little sort of story about our highlight of today or of the past, and we've got a couple of little clips prepared, and thank you, mate.
Hot.
Excellent. Very hot.
Very hot.
A couple of little clips prepared, and Pete,
Yeah, well,
you've got a special one.
yeah, I've got something to keep my mouth wet now, so that's great. And we were hoping to show you something from today, and we had beautiful elephant this afternoon from my side. Not
Yeah.
quite a leopard like you did, but you know, Illies are very, very close second for me.
Oh, for
you
sure.
both. But so my highlight was actually one from a couple of days back. We had one of my personal most enjoyable elephant experiences perhaps ever, and I've spent a lot of time with the Illies. We had this beautiful young Illy that came up to us, and we just had this lovely interaction with him. And as you can see, whoa guys, there's something going on here. Impalas are running like mad around us here. This little Illy came right up to us and then realized there's no other Illies around. When he looked back, you're going to see just now, and then we realized he's alone. I mean, the others had all moved off. He just balegar, as we say in Shangaan. He ran his little legs off, and then watch what happens next. This is what I really enjoyed, was just this little guy's heart and this little guy's attitude. Keep watching. We thought he's never going to stop running, but then he turned around. Hey, and that was just great. I just loved it. At one stage, I'd go through my mind, what happens if he doesn't stop? Guys, and for me, that was just a great sharing. I know that everyone that shared the drive loved it. I'm so glad you guys could see it now as well. As I said, I love elephant. Extremely intelligent animals, extremely sensitive animals, great herd structures. And that specific day, just the fact that we spent a lot of time with him and integrated ourselves into the herd, got him so relaxed that he eventually started playing with us, even though his mum had left, was just beautiful on so many levels. And then, of course, just a fantastic playing around with us. That was, for me, a highlight. In fact, I remember that, you know, we could do a talk like this 10 years from now, and I'll remember that one still as well. So, you guys?
I had an incredible experience the other day, but the first one thing, I want to shake your hand, mate, and thank you for getting us into that leopard today, mate. That was absolutely legendary. This man and Scotty and Brent and these guys just got me into that leopard today, and I just, mate, I owe you one big time.
I must be honest, it was from a tip off from Pieter. So he said we must go to the dam. He had found a track there. And yeah,
thank you, everyone, mate. It was incredible. So my highlight was when I was with these wild dog the other day, and they started something called a pep rally. Now, a pep rally is when they start to get active in the afternoon. They've had a sleep all day, and you don't normally see this because you normally find that wild dog are out there lying flat in the shade somewhere. You normally come across them when they're on the road or something, don't you? And there they were. They actually started to greet the alpha female and start to... They look like they're smiling. They actually look like they're smiling when they're coming up to her. And they come up and they sort of lick and they nudge and they nuzzle and they do this incredible high-pitched squeaking and squealing. And like,
No, it's awesome, man.
It's just pepping each other up, revving each other up. And it's like a rugby team or a football team or a netball team, or sort of high-fiving each other and saying, guys, come on, let's go out and we're going to do this. Yeah. We're going to have a great time. And then they ran up the top of this termite mound and they kept going, and then they sort of do it again and again and again. They all around the alpha female and the alpha male, and then it was just beautiful to see them start to walk off and trot off look up into the distance, what direction are we going to go, where are we going to hunt today, and all led by the alpha female and alpha male. It was beautiful, mate.
Yeah, it sounds awesome.
Oh, I love it. It's one of my most exciting things. What about you, buddy?
I had the most unbelievable experience with a super predator about this far away from me yesterday. It was absolutely incredible. We were walking through the bush and we came upon a herd of nyala, which is a type of antelope, as you all know, but for you back at home, a type of antelope here. They were staring intently into the bush, and when we walked in between these antelope, they didn't even bother. They basically just let us through their little gap.
Come and look.
She never moved a muscle, and she just was very at peace, and the bush was just alive around us. We had brown-headed parrots around us. They were busy squeaking in the trees. We had her head was probably as big as my hand is.
Perfect.
Beautiful colours. Perfect.
They are beautiful.
We're going to do this tomorrow, exactly the same time, same thing. We're going to follow up on that leopard tomorrow. I just want to thank you for being with us, sharing this little hiccups. It's all for you. It's all natural. It comes naturally. And I just want to thank you for being with us. Stef?
I just feel so blessed to be able to share my passion with you, and that's being in the bush on foot, and I'm looking forward to doing some more of it tomorrow.
Absolutely.
As I'm very tempted to say a lot of thank yous, but we can do some of that tomorrow. It has been a great day, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow. As they said, tomorrow there's more stuff happening. The same exciting possibilities with many, many more. I'm sure it's going to be a great day. I'm looking forward to it, and make sure that you're going to enjoy it with us.
It's just one of those things, and I think we have to pinch ourselves sometimes, folks. I often say to Stef, or Pete, when we're sitting next to each other, do you believe this is happening? Do you actually believe this is happening right now? Pinch yourself. We're broadcasting live from the African bush. It is absolutely incredible. It's a pleasure to be with you guys.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be with you as well.
Same
Love
there.
it. Best job in the world.
And doing the best job in the world with the best mates in the world.
Yeah. And thanks to Scotty and all the other rest of the team too.
Okay guys, we'll see you tomorrow. Another live safari. Don't miss it.